Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Andy Cohen really put Kyle Richards in the hot seat at the RHOBH Season 14 reunion. Even after nearly a decade and a half on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kyle Richards still manages to surprise Andy Cohen. And he made sure to call out one shocker in particular at the Season 14 reunion. During Part 3 of the cast sit-down, Andy broached the topic of Kyle's estranged husband, Mauricio Umansky's alleged infidelity, before invoking comments she'd made at the previous reunion. As a refresher, Kyle cryptically explained, on the heels of her shocking October 2023 separation announcement, that something happened with Mauricio that made her lose her trust. When castmate Sutton Stracke brought up the Mauricio cheating rumors during Season 14, however, Kyle reacted with shock and confusion. "I was surprised you were acting a little obtuse about it on the show, when you had alluded to it here last year," Andy told Kyle. Why Kyle Richards didn't discuss rumors about Mauricio Umansky cheating on Season 14, the RHOBH cast member attempted to explain herself, however, by saying she had to think about her four daughters, Farrah Brittany Alchafree, Alexia Umansky, Portia Umansky, and Sophia Umansky, and didn't want to hurt anybody or throw anybody under the bus. Not everything in our lives is up for grabs, and I'm not here to talk bad about Mao. I don't like when anybody speaks against him, and I did feel like that was done intentionally that day with Sutton, Kyle continued. I don't want to talk bad about the father of my children. I just don't. Kyle Richards addresses Mauricio Umansky's active dating life. Kyle wasn't exactly in the dark, though. When the Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen host brought up the much-discussed photos of Mauricio kissing a mystery woman in a Greek airport, she said that she didn't know he was seeing anybody at the time, but had assumed that was the case. The reason? Before he moved out and got his own place, I used to see all his messages, Kyle revealed of her ex, joking that her day job is detective. And I do know every F-King crumb. However, the RHOBH insisted that she's since stopped looking, and clarified that she and Mauricio were already separated when she saw the private, presumably romantic messages in question. How Kyle Richards reacted to Mauricio Umansky's public romances, seeing photos of Mauricio in public with other women across the globe, didn't make Kyle feel angry or jealous at all, though. It was very jarring at first because, to me in my mind, like that's my husband all these years. How weird to see him with another woman at all, she admitted. I just feel like I'm looking at somebody else, honestly. When Jennifer Tilly asked if Mauricio said anything to her about the photos, Kyle shared that he apologized and had to answer to their daughters as well. He felt horrible and, he got a tongue lashing from the four other Kyles, she said, before expressing her desire to also date. I mean, I'm not going to be like him, out there skiing on the slopes with people and whatever, but I want to move on in that aspect too, and I will be very soon. Why Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky broke up still, Kyle added that they actually both have regrets for allowing their 30-year marriage to crumble, before opening up about what went wrong between her and Mauricio. She cited money, traveling, fame, his business, the agency, growing, and the attention he was getting with all that as factors that contributed to their split. Women are snakes, Kyle said. They see a man who is a good husband and a good father, and he has money, and they're like, "Oh, I want that," and throw themselves at him. And we got married very young, and he never got to go out and do his thing. And I think that, really contributed to the downfall of our marriage. Photos and videos of her estranged husband out partying, including with Paul P.K. Kemsley and Summer House's Kyle Cook in Miami, also serve as little reminders of what led to their separation. It makes me think that's one of the reasons we're not together, actually, Kyle elaborated. I don't like to go out and party like that. When we were in our 20s, it was great. 30s too, but now I'm like, I don't want to do that. Let our daughters go. Has Kyle Richards or Mauricio Umansky filed for divorce? Regardless, Kyle and Mauricio are still on good terms today. When Andy asked the status of their separation and if either of them had filed for divorce at the season 14 reunion, Kyle replied, "No, we're literally just the same," adding, "We're close. We talk all the time." It was part 3 of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 14 reunion, and the energy on the set was electric, crackling with unresolved tension, hushed whispers backstage, and an unmistakable feeling that something big was about to go down. Andy Cohen sat poised, cue cards in hand, with that deceptively casual smirk that had disarmed housewives for years before going in for the kill. Kyle knew that look. She braced herself. "Okay," Andy said, glancing down at his notes, then back up at Kyle. "Let's talk about something we haven't really gotten into this season. Mauricio." A visible shift occurred in the room. Castmates like Garcelle Beauvais leaned forward. Sutton Strachey pressed her lips together, as if holding back a knowing smirk. Dorrit blinked, waiting. Kyle looked composed on the outside. The glossy curls, the smoky eye, the pink satin reunion dress, but her fingers twitched slightly in her lap. She knew this was coming. She just didn't expect Andy to start with that. Last season, Andy continued, "You said something had happened with Mauricio that made you lose trust. That's a big deal. But this season, when Sutton brought up the cheating rumors, you seemed, I don't know, a little obtuse." The word hung in the air. "Obtuse?" Kyle repeated, her voice tinged with surprise and a flicker of offense. Andy nodded, unfazed. "Yeah, it was a little surprising. I mean, given what you said last year, it just felt like you were playing dumb." That was the Bravo gut punch. The audience in the room went dead silent. Kyle inhaled deeply, her carefully constructed persona of unbothered elegance flickering. "Look," she began, voice steady, "I have 4 daughters. I'm not just thinking about me when I speak. I have to think about them. I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus." "I did that," Andy said, not backing down. "But you're also on a reality show. You all signed up to show your lives." "I know," she said quickly, "but not everything is up for grabs. Ma is still the father of my children. I don't want to publicly humiliate him, even if things happened." Garcelle raised an eyebrow, "But you did allude to it. And then you acted surprised when Sutton brought it up. That confused all of us." Sutton, emboldened by the support, chimed in. "I wasn't trying to be malicious, Kyle. But we all saw the photos, and there were whispers. It's not like I pulled it out of thin air." Kyle's jaw tightened. "I didn't know he was dating anyone at the time," she said carefully. "But yes, I saw things. I saw the airport photos. I saw the DMs. I knew." "Wait, DMs?" Andy leaned forward. "So you saw messages between Mauricio and other women?" Kyle nodded. "Before he moved out, let's call it my detective side kicked in. I saw a lot. Every F in crumb, actually." The cast gasped. Even Erica Jane mouthed "wow" under her breath. "But we were separated," Kyle clarified. "I wasn't spying on my husband. We were, in this weird gray area. And yeah, I stopped looking after a while. I had to, for my sanity." Andy stared at her for a moment, then nodded. "So just to be clear, you weren't shocked by the rumors. You just didn't want to talk about them?" "Yes," Kyle said. "Exactly. I didn't want to feed the narrative, especially with our girls involved. They were already seeing the pictures, hearing whispers. I didn't want to be the one confirming it to the world." "But Mauricio's been pretty public," Garcelle noted. "He's been out and about with other women, and that's all over the blogs." Kyle gave a small, humorless laugh. "Yeah, ski trips, clubs, dancing on tables in Miami with PK and Kyle Cook. I see it all. I don't feel jealousy, not exactly, but it is jarring. It's like looking at a stranger." Jennifer Tilly, who had appeared frequently this season as Kyle's close friend, spoke gently. Did he ever say anything to you about those photos? Kyle nodded. He apologized, not just to me, to our girls. Trust me, he got a full-on tongue lashing from the 4 other Kyles in our family. The room chuckled, but the air remained heavy. And what about you? Andy asked. Are you dating? I want to be, Kyle said. I will be. I'm not gonna be skiing on the slopes with randoms, but I want that part of my life to begin again, soon. Do you still love him? Sutton asked suddenly. Kyle blinked. The question caught her off guard. I'll always love him, she said finally. He's the father of my children. We built a life together. But I think we fell out of being in love a long time ago. There was a pause. So what happened? Andy asked. Why do you think it all fell apart? Kyle looked down for a moment, collecting her thoughts. Money. Travel. Fame. The agency. His business blew up. He got more attention. Women see a man like that. Good-looking, successful, devoted dad. And they throw themselves at him. It's gross. Erica nodded. It's true. Fame changes the dynamic. Kyle continued. And we got married young. He never really had the single guy phase. I think part of him wanted to experience that. And I just didn't want to party anymore. I didn't want to go out to clubs. That's not me. She paused again. I started seeing photos of him living that life, with PK, with other people, and I thought, maybe that's why we're not together anymore. I don't want to be in that world. Let our daughters go do that. I'm too old for shots on yachts. Andy leaned back. It sounds like it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't, Kyle said. It never is. Have either of you filed for divorce? He asked. No, Kyle replied. We're in limbo. Still close. We talk every day. We co-parent. We still love each other, but we're not together. Jennifer asked gently, do you think you'll ever reconcile? Kyle shrugged. Never say never, but we both have to change. A lot. The set grew quiet. Andy looked around at the rest of the cast. Anyone else want to say something? Sutton glanced at Kyle. I'm sorry if I pushed too hard. I really didn't mean to hurt you. I know, Kyle said, managing a smile. It's just hard to know when you're protecting your family and when you're just avoiding the truth. Andy flipped through his cards one last time. Well, Kyle, thank you for your honesty. I know it's not easy. No, Kyle agreed softly. It's not, but it's real. Later, when the cameras were off and the lights dimmed, Kyle found herself alone in the hallway backstage, sipping water and staring at a photo of her and Mauricio on her phone. Cabo, 2016. All 6 of them, her and Mal, their daughters, in a perfect frame. They were smiling, real smiles. Jennifer Tilly walked up beside her. You okay? Kyle nodded. Just thinking about how fast everything can change. Jennifer gave her a long look. You didn't act obtuse, Kyle. You protected your heart. Kyle smiled faintly. I think I'm finally ready to stop doing that. As she tucked the phone back into her bag, she knew the real reunion wasn't with Mauricio or the cast. It was with herself. The woman she'd hidden behind her marriage, her image, her fear. And that reunion was long overdue. Please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos.